gente. My name is Maria Lopez Twina, and I'm the author of the children's book and video series, MariVi, the Master Navigator, and the creator of this new podcast, Navigating Dos Mares, or Navigating Two Seas. MariVi, the Master Navigator book and video series was created to help children as they navigate life growing up with two cultures and two languages. This podcast, Navigating Dos Mares, was created to help us older kids, or the adult children of immigrants, better understand our childhood experiences and the impact that they've had on our lives. In today's podcast and throughout this season, we will focus on the third book in this series, North Star. We'll share highlights from the book and the why behind the storyline. Hopefully, it will help you better understand your own childhood and provide some insights into the world you were born into. Additionally, we'll be interviewing adult children of immigrants, exploring their childhoods and adult life experiences, and uncover how they've turned these experiences into their superpowers today. The book North Star, which is also available in Spanish, focuses on MariVi's first day back at school after having spent the weekend at home. She's decided that she's going to share her real name with her teacher in class, starts forming a close relationship with Karen, and witnesses one of many future culture clashes at home when the American way of life crashes head-on with the Latino lifestyle. So let's continue with this story and see what lunch brings. So now I'm reading from North Star, and the class is off to lunch. Quote, "When lunchtime came, I realized Mama had not given me an American lunch. I didn't want to have rice and beans when everyone else was having a sandwich. I'll see how this turns out, I thought. Karen and I sat together with Steve, Joseph, and Debbie at our table. Karen had a sandwich and didn't laugh at me when I opened my brown bag to find some empanadas. They were cold and had meat inside, but they were still good. Karen asked me how to pronounce it, and I slowly said, empanadas. I also explained to her that sometimes they have fruit inside or cheese, even rice and potatoes, but mine had red meat and a hidden half olive inside it today. The other kids looked curious as I explained the empanadas to Karen, but didn't say anything or laugh at me. I think being next to Karen helped somehow, not sure why. Karen finished her bologna sandwich and her potato chips, sharing a handful with me. I loved them. They were salty and crunchy and tasted good with the empanadas. I offered her some of my lunch, but she said she didn't think she would like it, and with a wave of her hand, passed on the offer. As I finished my empanada, I noticed that Mama had not given me dessert. Karen had gotten 2 chocolate chip cookies, my favorite. Mama never made chocolate chip cookies, and when I wanted her to make them for me so badly. Karen shared a cookie with me. She was still on her first bite when I said, "Delicious! Thank you." She said, "Wow, you really like them." "Like them? I love them." "Good," she replied. "I'll bring you some more tomorrow with more potato chips." I wanted to hug Karen so badly, but didn't think she would want to receive a hug. Something told me she wouldn't, so I held back. But Karen made me feel understood somehow and gave me food that Mama couldn't or wouldn't give me. Her friendship meant a lot to me, end quote. So much in this passage to discuss. First and foremost, MariVi becomes the teacher here, as she teaches her friend Karen about her culture as expressed by food. No one laughs at her as she's explaining what empanadas are, and MariVi says she thinks it has to do with the fact that she's sitting next to Karen. Additionally, MariVi has now been recognized by having her favored and correct name used when addressing her, so she's more comfortable to share some of her heritage. The fact that she thinks that being with Karen protects her somehow is interesting. Karen becomes her American seal of approval, if you will, at lunch. By helping her friend, MariVi feels somewhat protected. Just as MariVi will play the role of Sherpa, helping her American friends understand this part of her culture, Karen plays the role of guide, supporting MariVi as she navigates through school settings. Similar to when you travel to a foreign country and you hire a tour guide to show you around and educate you about the country you are visiting, both Karen and MariVi are playing this role with each other. It's a reciprocal exchange. MariVi then eats the potato chips that Karen shares with her, along with her empanada, and loves the taste. A revelatory moment of things to come. Mixing a little bit of both cultures can create a greater good. And then, of course, dessert and the beloved chocolate chip cookies. Karen shares hers with MariVi and promises to bring more chips and cookies tomorrow, nourishing a side of MariVi, her American side, if you will, that is not being fostered at home and something MariVi craves. I actually think that many of us form tighter bonds with our American friends and their families when we're growing up because they do provide nourishment and validation to our desire to be and feel American. Not only via the food they share, but because they only speak one language and have one ethos. When spending time with them, things seem easier and more peaceful. And finally, MariVi wants to give her friend Karen a hug at the end of the meal for all the support and sharing that has occurred. But she doesn't because she senses that Karen wouldn't feel comfortable. MariVi is growing more and more aware of the cultural differences. No one needs to tell her. Her gut tells her. Collectivist cultures are much more physical and minimize social spaces. Physical contact, such as hugs, kisses, casual touching when talking, are all accepted and reinforced in collectivist societies. MariVi senses Karen's independence and doesn't want to intrude her personal space. One of the big differences between both cultures is just that, our approach to physical proximity. Now let's continue with our story. MariVi is back in the classroom working on an art project tied to the holidays. Quote, I wanted to tell everyone that last year was the first time we hadn't celebrated Three Kings Day or El Día de los Reyes Magos, which happens at the beginning of the year, not at the end. We used to celebrate Three Kings Day because that's what they celebrated where Mama and Papa were from, not Christmas. In fact, Mama and Papa had to learn about Christmas. Isa and Gordo told them about it and insisted that we celebrate Christmas instead of Three Kings Day. I remembered it was talked about a lot before they finally agreed. I decided not to share this with everyone. It would only make me feel even more different and alone. End quote. This is a short passage, but worth reviewing. MariVi is starting to feel comfortable in school. She's had a relatively successful day and wants to share something else about her heritage, but stops herself. She doesn't want to share too much to remind people how different she is. She's already shared about empanadas, but thinks if she shares that they celebrated different holidays until recently, it might be too much. At her very young age, she understands her comfort zone and protects herself from any situation that reminds her of her outsider status, even one where she would play the role of cultural teacher and not cultural student. Finally, they are now home after a good day by all accounts, not knowing how the next conversation would change the direction of the afternoon. Quote, Abuelita had some warm chocolate milk waiting for me, some hard-boiled eggs, peeled and ready for Isa, and some crackers with peanut butter waiting for Gordo. After kissing them both hello, Mama asked, ¿Cómo les fue hoy en el colegio? How was school today? Bien, Mamá, or good, Mamá, Isa replied. MariVi, ¿cómo te fue? MariVi, how did it go? Bien, Mamá. Ahora me llaman MariVi en la escuela. Good, Mamá. They now call me MariVi at school. Qué bueno. How great. Abuelita, MariVi's grandmother, said before Mama could answer. The milk wasn't going to be enough for me, so after talking about my day, I asked for some toast with butter. Abuelita made me some, and we sat outside to eat and talk for a couple of minutes before changing from our uniforms. Isa asked Mama if she could go to a friend's house for a sleepover. Before I knew it, they were talking loudly at each other, and Isa had gotten up from the table to go to our room, with half a hard-boiled egg left, which Gordo quickly snatched when he realized she wasn't coming back. Mama was following Isa into the house now and speaking quite loudly, with Isa returning the loud words back. I sat quietly and looked at Abuelita, who was watching Gordo quickly eat yet another stack of crackers with peanut butter. Abuelita could sense the concern on my face and quickly reached into her pocket and quietly handed me 5 chocolate candies, end quote. Well, let's unpack some of this. If you grew up in a first-generation Hispanic household, you know that the request for the first sleepover is akin to dropping a nuclear bomb on one's home. First of all, it's not something that's typically done in Latin America, so culturally it's irrelevant. Secondly, first-generation Hispanic households don't trust society and are just beginning to establish themselves in their new country. They don't know Isa's friend, nor do they know her parents. Having Isa spend the night with her friend goes against everything their culture represents. And what would others think about their family? Do they not have a house, a roof to put over Isa's head? Is she not safe at home? Are they too poor to feed and keep her healthy? Is there something wrong with the family? All of these thoughts are going through Mama's mind as she begins to loudly argue with Isa. Similar to the discussion surrounding Three Kings Day versus Christmas celebrations, this is a key cultural moment in the Abascals' lives that will mark their position in the U.S. Are they Latino or are they American? We'll find out on the next episode. Today's podcast is filled with experiences many of us have had as children. Our favorite American foods kept from us at home, our friendships with our American friends, and what they mean to our acculturation process, and the cultural moments that are defining, such as the request for the first sleepover. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Think about the events we shared in your own life. Did you experience any of them or similar ones? And then ask yourself, what would you tell your 10-year-old self? And remember, life only gets better. You will find a sense of belonging and community, but your life path may return you to your roots to find it. Thanks for listening, and please join us on our next episode of Navigating Dos Mares. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at We Are MariVi, or check out our books on our website, wearemarivi.com.